Hi, everybody. We are winding into the Thanksgiving holiday, and that has me thinking about family. Thanksgiving to me is all about family. It's a time for everyone to get together with their family and to share the experience of celebrating their connection to each other. And I really love the holiday. It means a lot to me to be with my family. And I hope that all of you are well and with your families. If you don't know me, I'm Josh Goldstein. I'm an immigration lawyer. I'm passionate about helping people reach their immigration goals. And there is no goal more important than bringing your family to the U.S. or getting to the U.S. so you can be with your family. Armando, Rocky, thank you for joining in. Happy Thanksgiving to you and best wishes. In today's live video, I'm going to be answering whatever questions that you guys have. But before that, I'm going to talk about family-based immigration, what options are available to you, how you might be able to pursue this with your family. So to start off with, I just came back this morning from a naturalization interview, and it was really a great experience to see my client get sworn in and to be there for him on this. Feels like a little bit of a holiday. It was a very fast interview. The officer was nice. What happened to him was that he came to the U.S. with his green card as a child. Then his mother got sick. They had to leave. And he left the U.S. for 6 years. So that was the issue that he had. And, he came back with his mother. So this was a big challenge. So one issue for family-based immigration is that when you have a green card, you have to live in the U.S. If you don't live in the U.S. with your green card, you get in trouble. Everybody knows this, right? Or is this something that's shocking news to you? Maybe you could tell me a little bit more about where you're from. In the comments below, tell me where you're watching from. I'd love to hear it. I'm in downtown Los Angeles. That's where I am. And I know, I mean business because I have a pink shirt on, right? That is serious. So I'll take one quick question here. How soon can you put in your paperwork after getting married? So that's a great question. We do a lot of cases based on marriage or fiance visas. And some people think that when you get married, you have to wait a long time, or it looks better if you get married and then you wait before you file for a green card. And that's just not the truth. That's one of these myths out there. Most of our clients and most people I've worked with in my career, they get married and they file for the green card right away. Does that look bad? No, it doesn't look bad. That's just what people tend to do. They get married and they file their paperwork. Does it look like they got married for the purposes of getting a green card? I wouldn't say that. Everybody who gets a green card through marriage has to prove that their relationship is legit, is genuine, is for real. And sure, maybe they got married. Maybe one of the reasons they got married was to get a green card, but it can't be the only reason. You still have to prove that you share your life as spouses tend to do. But I don't think it looks better if you hold off on filing your paperwork. That's a mistake that people make and that you shouldn't make. You should get the green card you deserve and file it and move on. So Noman Afzal says, sir, my case is 221G. 221G is a delay that happens after your visa interview. Says, I got a DS 5535 form on February 1st, Islamabad, and my category is IR1. Should I go for a lawsuit? Let's see. March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. I would say, no, Mr. or Mrs. Afzal, if you don't have your visa by the beginning of December, so I'll give it 2 or 3 more weeks, then I think you should file the lawsuit and we can help you out with that. So I asked people where they were from. I only got one response in Virginia. I wonder where you were. Daniela Lara says, should the I-212 and I-601 be filed together? I would say yes. Most of the time, that's yes. But I think you really need to have a lawyer help you with that because that's pretty complicated. What's the wait for DACA renewal? It's probably longer than you want. I think it's probably going to take about 8 months to get that renewed. Great questions out there. I'm going to get to all your questions, and I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have, and I look forward to that. We have a tradition every Wednesday of going live, and I may expand that soon. I may expand that to 2 days a week. I love answering your questions. I love jumping on. We always get such great questions, and people reach out afterwards and join us. Let's see. Let's see what questions. Talk about VAWA. Oh, wow. Okay. So look, you can get a green card through marriage. Everybody knows that, right? Marriage to a U.S. citizen or permanent resident. But what happens if your relationship is not going well? What happens if your relationship is abusive, or there's domestic violence? Not just physical violence, but a pattern of behavior that is not healthy, normal, or that falls into the category of abuse. Well, in that case, you can invoke what's called the Congress set up what's called the Violence Against Women Act, but it applies to men as well. And basically, it puts the immigrant in a horrible position because in order to get a green card, you have to stay in a marriage, but the marriage is abusive. So Congress recognized this problem and set up the Violence Against Women Act, or VAWA. And what it says is that you can petition for yourself without your spouse if you meet certain conditions. And that is to show that your partner is a permanent resident or a U.S. citizen and that the relationship has abuse. Now, the VAWA Act is also used in cases of where there's abuse in other types of relationships like child abuse or parental abuse, things like that. Those are the main. If you have specific questions about VAWA, put them in there. I think one of the things about VAWA is people are always tripped up on, well, how do you prove abuse? Do I need, a video of my partner abusing me or a police report? And typically we do this through storytelling. We take a detailed affidavit from the client and we explain in their own words what happened. That's how we establish abuse. We also use forensic therapist reports. These are therapists who you pay money to, who help you articulate what's going on. And I love working on VAWA cases. We have a great record of success, and I love helping people who are being taken advantage of or they're in a vulnerable spot, and we can give them a different life, a better life. And that makes me very happy to do that. I hope everyone, wow, we have Pilgrim School joined. That makes me really happy because that's the school my boys go to and that we love so much. Let me know what questions that you have or how I can help you reach your immigration goals. Again, if you don't know me, I'm Josh Goldstein. I'm an immigration lawyer. I'm passionate about what I do. And my goal, my mission is to help you reach your goals and to inspire you and to uplift you and to let you know that immigration is something that you can solve. You can do it. I end all my videos with a message of hope. You can do this, because I think a lot of people get really discouraged. They get really down and discouraged by immigration. Sometimes people have it becomes psychologically difficult. You know what I mean? Immigration just becomes this thing. And that's very hard. So I'm going to look for some comments on TikTok. Right now we are live on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. We have a Facebook group dedicated to visa delay, and there are over 15,000 active members in this group. It's an amazing, supportive group of people who uplift each other and help each other and answer each other's questions and serve as a sounding board. I love this group. We also have, we're live on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and X, formerly known as Twitter. My kids' N600K applications are stuck with USCIS. Mama's got this goods. I like that name. This is our friend on Instagram who joined us. If they're stuck with USCIS, we applied from Canada, now in the US. Why don't you reach out to us? My link on Instagram is in the bio, how you can get our help. We start whenever someone asks us for help, we have a link they can use to book an appointment. And the link says, tell us about your case. And I love that message because that's really the beginning of a conversation. We need to know more about your situation to determine whether we can actually help you. And if we can help you, we're going to have lots of questions for you. 18 months is too long for that. Mama's got the goods. Mama's got this goods. I like that. That's a cool name. Josh is Immigration is my name on TikTok and Instagram. Immigration Station is the name of our YouTube channel, which we just hit 35,000 followers, which I'm really proud of and thankful for. And you know, this Thanksgiving, I've been expressing my gratitude and thanks. And I have two big things. First is I want to thank all the people who have allowed us to help them and people who've tuned in to our content. And I also would like to thank everybody who works at our firm, our whole team. I'm the face of the company. I'm the owner of the firm, the founder of the firm. But I think that this is really a joint effort. And there's so many incredible, talented, amazing people doing such great work that I could not achieve anything to help people like you without the help that others are providing. And I really, really want to mention the thanks to my whole team. So Daniela Lara, our friend on YouTube, is asking some very technical questions about the I-130 and an I-212 and an I-601. And I'm not really sure. In order to give you this advice, I'd have to look at it really carefully. I'm not quite sure. All right, on YouTube, on Instagram, we have Joe Kutimwamuma. USCIS sends RFE for medical and medical received by USCIS. What's next? Hopefully the approval of your case, right? I like that. Let's get your case approved. Why not? Why not? Here's a question. Sandra Ambamani. I'm African American. I'd like to petition for my daughter. She's 35 and not married and lives here. Well, you can file a visa petition for her if you're a U.S. citizen. It's probably going to take a while. There may be issues, but you could do it. Why not? Let's take some more questions. Someone named Abogado Joshua Goldstein says you rock, which is we have Spanish language content coming out. So I like myself according to this, which is strange. Let's see here. My Abdul Wahid Alaya on TikTok says my I-751 is pending. I'm assuming that person is going to say it's been pending for a long time. If your I-751, first of all, what is an I-751? An I-751 is a petition to remove the conditions on residency. What does that mean? Well, you applied for a green card and you got a 2-year conditional green card. At the end of the 2-year period, before your green card expires, you have to file a petition together with your spouse to show that your relationship is ongoing and continuing. And that's what the I-751 is. And if you get approved, you get a 10-year green card. That's what you get. Pardon me 1 second. I got to get my iced tea here. Whoa. Pardon me. Here we go. Let's see. A little technical difficulty here. All right. All right, we're back. I have my iced tea. I can hydrate and caffeinate myself. The I-751 has been pending since 2017. I'm worried because it's affecting my I-130, my N-400. So if your I-751 is stuck and it's been pending for, this person's I-751 has been pending for 6 years or more or less. If it's been pending for a very long time, what do you do about that? Well, you don't just sit and wait. That's one thing. My message to you is don't wait for your case, because waiting leads to more waiting. So what do you do if you can't just keep waiting? Well, you got to take action. And the first thing that I like to do for a delayed I-751 is file an application for naturalization. File an N-400 if you're eligible. Why not? So what will happen is when you file your N-400, your application for naturalization, with your I-751 pending, what happens is you will get an interview for your naturalization. They'll ask you who the president is, what color does the White House. They'll ask you all the questions. They'll give you the English test. They'll go through the whole process of naturalization. But they will not be able to make and approve your, they will not be able to make a decision on your naturalization application until your case, your I-751 is approved. So by filing for naturalization, you've essentially forced their hand. You forced them to take action on your I-751. And the great thing about it is, if you were to get your I-751 approved, what would be your next move? You'd probably apply for naturalization. So it's something you're going to probably do anyway. So I recommend that you do this to get your case approved. Now, one thing that's cool about the naturalization application, besides the fact that it leads to U.S. citizenship, when you have your naturalization interview, okay? Now watch, this is something people don't know about this. There's little language at the very bottom in fine print because they don't want you to see this. And it says that if your application for naturalization has had an interview, and if the interview was conducted more than 120 days ago, you have the right to trial in federal court. You have the right to trial. So you can go to court, you can file a petition, and what you'll do when you file the petition is you'll force USCIS to make a decision. They don't want to do a trial. They will make a final decision. And it's an amazing thing. So if your I-751 stuck, file an application for naturalization. If your application for naturalization gets stuck, then we can help you with a lawsuit. Those are the few things we can do. Does this make sense? Here's a question from Instagram. Excuse me, Sayanate Sael. Sir, I am so anxious because my case is from 2021 and it's been so long that I'm waiting for my visa interview. It's a spouse visa in Islamabad. Do you have any idea when the visa category gets available? So there is no one who knows anything about, first of all, I can't predict the future, right? And nobody can. Nobody can predict the future. And so when you ask me what's going to happen in the future to the visa bulletin, the honest answer is I do not know. I don't know what's going to happen. And because I don't know what's going to happen, it's hard for me to figure that out. So you have to just wait patiently. And if the visa bulletin is not current, then there's nothing you can do. You have to keep waiting. And it's very, very frustrating and unfortunate. So that's my answer to your question to our friend on Instagram. Here's Allie. It's going to be my first Thanksgiving as a U.S. citizen. Immigration lawyers are priceless. Oh, lots of love to you. I'm so happy that you have your citizenship, and I feel like it's wonderful that you're going to have your first Thanksgiving as an immigration lawyer, as an immigration attorney. That's really awesome. So getting back to it, I am answering your questions. Here's Ricky on TikTok. He says, what if I get married 2 months before my OPT ended? Would that have a high chance of being rejected? Well, Ricky, why would it be rejected? I'm not sure I follow you. I mean, if you have a valid marriage, a genuine marriage, and if you if you're married, if you live with your spouse and you're married and everything is good, and your spouse is a U.S. citizen or permanent resident, why wouldn't it work? Why not? Here we have Laco joined us, one of my amazing squash heroes from Arizona has joined us. Very great squash player. Allie says she applied for naturalization in August, was naturalized in November 13th. Such an easy experience. I love that. Yeah. So today I went to a naturalization interview, and at the end of the interview, there was a long silence. The immigration officer was writing up some notes, very stone faced, and then he said, "Congratulations, you're approved." He sent us to another room to get sworn in. I stayed around because I wanted to see, and I congratulated everybody who was getting approved. It was it almost moved me to tears. It was such a wonderful thing, you know? Let's hear more about what your immigration goals are. She says it's so awesome. I almost cried. That's great. And the great thing about naturalization is you have it for life. You have it forever, and nobody can ever take it away from you. Ricky says, just making sure USCIS is known for being skeptical and suspect anything. Yes, immigration is going to be skeptical. If you want a green card through marriage, you have to convince a skeptical, possibly a skeptical officer that you deserve to be approved. Your relationship is real and genuine. Maybe it's something you just did to get a green card because your OPT was running out. I doubt it, but you got to convince someone. You got to let them know it's for real. Nambia says, don't forget my question. But I did forget your question. Could you repost it? Repost your question. I don't see it. This is one of our friends on YouTube. I don't see your question. I'm sorry. What about the visa bulletin F2B? Yeah, it's stuck. It's really stuck, and it's disappointing and discouraging. I'm sorry. Janie joined us. Oh, love Janie. She's amazing. Hope you're doing well if you see this. I hope you're having a wonderful Thanksgiving. It's great to tune in and have everybody join us. Ricky, all the best to you. This is great. Let me know what questions you have. Here's Allie's from the UK, husband in the military. Thank you for helping people. Here's a question from the Miracle Lady. I like the Miracle Lady. What are the strong evidence that your petition can waive without the interview? Okay, this is a great question. I had an interview recently with USCIS, and at the interview, the officer said, "Why are we even here? Why did we have an interview?" And I wanted to know as well. And the officer said to me, the reason that you're having this interview and the reason the interview was not waived is that you didn't submit enough evidence that your marriage relationship was genuine. That's what he said. So when you're filing for a green card through marriage, okay, you have to submit ample proof that your marriage relationship is genuine. What am I talking about? I'm talking about proof that you live together, that you file your taxes together, that you have children, that you go on trips together, that you communicate with each other, proof that you have a shared life, that you have joint financial arrangements, etc., insurance, and so on. These are all the things that married couples do in the eyes of USCIS. So those are the things that you can submit. You cannot submit too much evidence. You can only submit not enough. So pile it on. Here's a question from Facebook from Kashif Kara. How long for an RFE? My wife's I-130 is pending for 18 months. Something's not right. If you've been waiting a year and a half and your I-130 is still pending. So you should consider reaching out to us because that does not sound normal. Here's a question on Facebook. How long till, or TikTok, how long till I get my asylum interview? Of course, I can't predict that, but asylum interviews take very long time, several years. It's really horrible, but we have techniques to help people get interviews in a reasonable period of time. So if you're stuck and you're frustrated and you're angry because your asylum case is going nowhere, you should reach out to us. Here's Nigel says, I overstayed my visa for a year. If I overstayed my visa for a year and I go back to my home country, can my spouse still petition for me? Well, yes, your spouse can petition for you. The question is, what are the consequences of going back to your home country? And I think that most people, I would tell them they're going to be stuck for a very, very long time if they do that. So I would caution you against going back to your home country. It's better to get your green card in the US and then once you have your green card, go back to your home country than to travel back to your home country now and then find out you're stuck because you need all sorts of waivers and things. So that's what I think. Here's Mohammed Khan. Under I-730, my family got 221G later. They have a doubt my 18-year-old son might be married. Well, Mohammed, I would love to help you. Reach out to us using the link in the bio. Is your son married? Is he not married? I mean, that's the issue, right? Because if your son is married, he's disqualified for the visa. He's not going to get the visa. So I think you have to sort that out. Here is another question from Daniela. She said, I have a friend who's been in the U.S. since 1997 and deported twice. She has a 21-year-old daughter and can petition for her. My friend is afraid to seek legal help. Well, you shouldn't be afraid to seek legal help because how can you solve legal problems if you don't get help from professionals? So I don't think you should be afraid to get legal aid help or help with your case. But if you've been deported twice, then it's probably unlikely that you're going to be able to get a green card. I'd have to know more about the case in order to give you specific advice, of course. But being deported twice is a tough thing. How do I go? Here's a question from Enchantra with a $sign after it. How do I go about getting my partner in the U.S. as a green card holder? Well, if you're a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident or asylee, then through marriage, you could petition for your partner and help them get benefits. That's one way to do it. Does that help? Let me know in the comments. Let me know. I'm here to help. I'm here to help. Daniela says, you're the best. I really wish you good luck with your immigration case, Daniela. I-212 and I-130. I'm proud to say that we've gotten a few of these approved. I love doing it. So let me know if you need any help. And I'm going to stay and keep answering questions. That's what I love doing. So let me know if you have questions in the comments. Enchantra says, do I have to get an immigration lawyer for that? Well, there's no obligation for that anyone has to hire an immigration lawyer. There's no obligation that people who are charged with criminal offenses have to hire an attorney to represent them. There's no hiring a lawyer is always optional. But my experience is that things tend to go much better when you have a really good lawyer helping you. That's just the way it is. That's the way it is. So you have to decide how important your immigration case is to you, how important it is. And if it's very important, then you should consider hiring someone to help you. I've had things in my life personally where I have hired a lawyer, and it worked out really well, and I felt that I was given good advice and good representation. Stefan Kalazak, administrative process question. Is there ever a time when you would not recommend a writ of mandamus case for a case that's been waiting 6 months? Yes, there are lots of things that would make me not recommend that. For example, maybe your visa is delayed because there is some concern about whether the person is eligible for approval. So I'd want to make sure that the case is approvable. Some cases are delayed because there's an underlying problem. I'd also want to know if there's a petitioner, visa petitioner, where does that petitioner live, right? In New York, administrative processing can't be challenged in the court. So there's that. These are the things that are really on my mind. Layla says, have you ever heard anything about Belgrade, Serbia being backlogged, DQ since November 3rd? I haven't specifically, but the entire immigration system is relatively backed up. So there's that. It's difficult. Let me know what questions you have. We've gotten some great ones. We have gotten some great questions. Stefan has a few questions. Just jump on and ask me. I'll try to I can't guarantee I can answer your questions, but I'll try. What is extended review in asylum application? Extended review of an asylum application? I'm not sure there's anything specific that's being done. They're just taking a long time to review your asylum application. Khalid Tallah says the consulate of the USA in Islamabad in Casablanca, Morocco is very late in their process. Yes, that's true. They take forever. They really do. They really do. Let me know what questions you have. Hello, Steven says, hello, if USCIS is posting a 20 months for an I601 waiver, you constantly say you don't believe them. Can you please give me your guess as to how many actual months from your experience? Well, Stephen, you asked a very good question, a very simple question, but you know, how long something's going to take is very hard to say. I don't know. I really don't know how long it's going to take. And if you hired me to be your lawyer for an I601 waiver, I would say, listen, before you do this, you should know this is going to take a very long time. And then people would say, well, how long is that going to be? And I would say it's going to take longer than you want. It's going to take several years. But I can't really predict exactly how long it's going to take. I could easily see, without a mandamus case, I could easily see it taking 3 years. But on the other hand, things could change. Things could change, and things could go faster. So I don't know. I do not know. I really don't know. I mean, I think mandamus. So Stefan says, let me understand. A writ of mandamus only speeds up the decision, but does it actually increase the possibility of a visa being granted? No, I don't think it increases the possibility of a visa being granted. I don't think that you improve your chances of being approved by filing a lawsuit. The purpose of the lawsuit is to challenge a delay in the processing of the application. So if you're looking and you're saying, well, my I-601 is going to take who knows how long, I don't know, then the lawsuit could challenge that. We've used it successfully in many cases, but you have to be realistic. It's not magic. It's not gonna immediately result in the approval of your case. I hope that answers your question. I don't mean to disappoint you, Stefan. I just want to give you candid, realistic advice on what to expect if you're considering mandamus. I think mandamus is a good choice for people with I-601 delays. And the reason I mentioned that, I wonder, Stefan, if you could tell me, if you feel comfortable sharing this, is your I-601 at a consulate or are you within the U.S.? I'm curious about that because I have different advice on those two scenarios. What's going on with TPS? I'm not sure what you mean by that. This is from someone on TikTok. TPS, I love TPS. TPS is great. TPS is something very helpful. I wish TPS were extended to more countries. Maybe Biden would consider TPS for Palestinians. I don't know. Daniela says, my lawyer has triggered the 10-year bar. My husband has triggered the 10-year bar. My lawyer wants to file an I-130 again when it was approved in 2011. The other lawyer wants to file an I-212 by itself. Well, I think 2 lawyers is one too many. You should decide who you trust and who you want to go with. This is for Stefan's father-in-law. His K-1 visa is stuck in administrative processing in London. So another value of mandamus when there's a waiver at a consulate, this is for Stefan and for anyone else whose cases might be stuck. What happens in many other cases, this is incredibly frustrating, is your I-601 waiver gets approved, and then the consulate never processes the paperwork to give you the actual visa. So that's very, very frustrating. Imagine waiting another year or two, Stefan, and then all of a sudden you get your I-601 approved, and then the consulate doesn't do anything with your case, and it sits for another 6, 8, 12 months. Still no word. So in that situation, the mandamus lawsuit can clean up all those delays. With one lawsuit, we can force them to make a decision on the I-601, hopefully. And then also, once that's approved, hopefully, then we'll get them to process the case and actually issue the visa. So that's how I see it. Here's someone who says, I had a failure to appear and a bench warrant was issued. Bond was placed and a ticket was dismissed in 400. Wow. Well, I'd like to know more about that. If I were your lawyer and I were preparing your N400 application, I would want to carefully document all that. And hopefully it's outside the 3 or 5 year period for good moral character. If not, I'd want to take a look at it. Tina Cooper, our friend on Facebook, says, my daughter's case is 5 years now. When you call them, no answer. How will I get them to ask a question? Well, these agencies, USCIS and the State Department, they are not in the business of providing outstanding customer support. When you call them, there's no way to ask substantive questions and get your questions answered. It's very, very frustrating. That's why people hire lawyers to help them navigate through the immigration process. But it is very difficult. Let me know what questions you have. I'm here for you. Here's for Bad and Bougie. How long? I love that name, Bad and Bougie. How long do you take to get a green card for an IR2 case after entering the country? It usually comes quickly. How do I know? Because my clients, I rarely complain about that. Stefan says, does the fact that his passport was handed back to him suggest any concern? Interviews seem to go okay. However, 221G, yellow slip, passport handed back. I don't, sometimes people read a lot into that. They'll say, well, the consulate kept my passport, so everything's okay. No, that's not true. Or they'll say, the passport was given back to me, so I'm in trouble. That's bad, right? I don't think that's necessarily true either. I would not read anything into this. The fact that the passport was given back or kept makes no difference. I'm going to go back to Instagram to Demosa. To file for a joint sponsor for a household of 4 and 6, what is the eligible income? Well, the answer is to check form I-864P. P is in Paul. That is the form where you can look up, I don't know the exact number, but you can look it up yourself and see. Let's see here. All right. Tina Cooper says, how much to get a lawyer? Well, the question of how much we would charge you to handle your case, it's a little premature. First of all, I would need to know a lot of details about your case. If you go to our website, which is www.jgoldlaw.com, and you go there, you'll find a form that'll say, tell us about your case. And that's really what we need you to do. We need you to tell us about your case. We need you to answer questions, to give us information. And once you give us information, first we can figure out whether there's anything we can do to help you. And then secondly, if we can help you, then we can talk to you about the cost. Stefan again says, is there a case? Let's see here. Hold on one second. Is there a case of poking the bear with a writ of mandamus? Yes, there is a case of poking a bear. It's exactly what you're doing. You're poking the bear. But presumably, you are poking the bear because you have an I601 waiver that deserves to get approved. You've shown hardship. You've accepted responsibility for whatever you did that was wrong. I don't know the details, but presumably your I601 deserves to be approved. Presumably, your visa deserves to be approved. All these things are probably true. And if you have a strong case, a case with merit, then why not poke the bear? Because if you've been waiting for 2 or 3 years, at some point, you're going to get so frustrated you can't take it anymore. At that point, you're going to stand up and say, I'm suing you. I want a decision. I deserve a decision, an up or down decision on my case. And that's what you're doing. But is there a risk that by filing a lawsuit, the consulate will get mad at you and retaliate? No, we don't find retaliation. We don't find them retaliating against you. That's not the way it works. Hope that helps. Okay, Stefan's got another question. I love it. I love it. Keep them coming. I think you're asking good questions, Stefan. Your questions show that you're really giving a lot of thought to mandamus. We put out tons of information about it, so a lot of times people here's a good question from TikTok on MNH. How long does I-730 take, the whole process? So the I-730 is a visa petition filed by an asylee or a refugee, and it should take no more than 2 years. How long would it actually take? Well, I think it would take several years, maybe 3 or 4 years. And that's where we come in. We file lawsuits to challenge processing delays, and those delays often happen for people who filed I-730s. What is that form again? Says Damaso. The I-864P, as in Paul, I-864P. If you want to know what the income requirements are for an I-864, for an affidavit of support, then you need to check that form. Stefan says, what would you say is the absolute minimum time that you would consider filing a writ of mandamus? It's been 6 months for my father-in-law. I mean, I'm not sure what you mean by the absolute minimum amount of time. There is a tension between the amount of time that you've waited and you want the case. The purpose of the mandamus lawsuit is to challenge a processing delay and get the visa unstuck and approved quickly. But if it's only been 6 months, I would want to give it another, I don't know, 2 or 3 months at least, I think, before. I mean, hopefully, Stefan, you won't even need our help and it just gets approved. But I would give it a few more months. I can't say exactly how long that would be. Steven Stanek says, if the I601, let's see. He says, hold on one second. Steven Stanek says, if the I601 is approved, does the embassy usually go along with this decision, or is it common to keep digging for simple answers to stop a visa approval? I know the embassy has its own decision. You're correct in general, Stephen, that the embassy makes its own decision. Have a happy Thanksgiving, Stefan, and I hope my answers were of use to you. So Stephen is asking a good question. I hope Stefan's listening to this too, because they're both about the I-601 approval. So in my experience, if you go through and get an I'll post my website here. Here is the link to our website, www.jgoldlaw.com. So back to Stephen's question. If the I-601 is approved, does the embassy go along with the decision, or is it common to keep digging? No, the embassy will go along with the decision. This has been my experience time and again. The embassy will go along with the decision. That is what will happen. The problem is you get your I-601 waiver approved, and then nothing happens. It's still stuck. It's still stuck. That's the problem. That's the problem. And so if you are in a situation where you went to a visa interview, you were asked to do an I-601, the I-601 was filed and got approved, and the consulate's not doing anything, then we can help. So on Instagram, Nimise says, for the standard I-601 misrepresentation, how much average price? So before I can talk to you about the cost that I would charge for your case, first I have to know whether I can help you, whether you're eligible for the I-601 waiver. So I have a lot of questions for you. I want to know why you needed a waiver. I want to know more about hardship. What would happen if this case were denied? I want to determine whether you're eligible. And if you are eligible, and it sounds like our firm's a good fit for you, then I would be able to give you a quote as to how much we would charge. But I don't have a general price. Every case is different, and we do it on a case-by-case basis. I hope that helps. I hope that helps.